one of the names that you took is a 2-year-old boy. He survived the initial terror attack. They fired at the bus wreck, and that is what killed Titu Sahani. So for anyone to say that terrorism has no religion, it's just an army of zombies that has suddenly descended. That every one of us has a phone, has a Twitter account, is on social media. We can say what we want, so the truth will be out. But the person who coined this phrase Big Bang was the one who actually believed in the other opposite theory of steady state theory, Hall. Such was the beauty of science. The person who's converted is more vociferous in proclaiming his newly adopted religion. Country where we have laws, for example, Section 295A, that prosecutes and arrests people for offending religious sensibilities, and this is always subjective. Shalom, everyone. First of all, congratulations to my very dear friend Vamsi. It's a real privilege and an honor. I think it's a very serious question that Ashish asked. And first of all, thank you, Ashish, for taking the names of the deceased. And I'll just add to that, the tragedy was that as many in the media now, the reports are coming out, are saying that Titu Sahani, one of the names that you took, is a 2-year-old boy. He survived the initial terror attack. So the terrorist bullets did not get him, got the driver. The bus fell down into a gorge. So Titu Sahani was alive. He was unhurt in that sense. But then the terrorists climbed down the gorge. And for the next 1 hour, they fired at the bus wreck. And that is what killed Titu Sahani. So for anyone to say that terrorism has no religion, I think it's just vile. Let's just accept that. We've reached a stage where I think even though in our hearts and minds we want to say something that is the truth, we are being prevented from saying so. It's just an army of zombies that has suddenly descended. And it is very befuddling, especially because to a Darwinian atheist or to someone who also does science, is that any view is kept on the table. You want to accept it, you don't want to accept it, it's up to you. No idea is sacrosanct. And every idea is to be celebrated till the time it is junked, accepted till the time it is junked. And everything happens without even hurting a fly. This is what all of us have been brought up on. And now it's virtually impossible, even in the fields of science, to do so. We saw during COVID how medical practitioners, scientists were virtually prevented, cancelled, deplatformed for putting forth their views. It's unbelievable. And this all has happened around us in an age where all of us thought we have the power to tell the truth, that everything has been democratized, that every one of us has a phone, has a Twitter account, is on social media. We can say what we want, so the truth will be out. And exactly the opposite is happening right before our eyes. I can't believe it. It's so bizarre. So bizarre. And one harks back with, I think, even poignancy is not the word, with pathos, that the word Big Bang, the theory that we accept that created the universe, Big Bang theory, that everything started and then, of course, Hubble shift came and now we know that it is true. Of course, we don't know what was there before the Big Bang. But the person who coined this phrase Big Bang was the one who actually believed in the other opposite theory of steady state theory, Hall. Such was the beauty of science. Everything was on the table. Every person's idea was celebrated, and we've somehow, I don't know what has happened. And now when Vamsi, what we are seeing unfolding in the US university, universities in the last, I think, especially 6 months, 7 months, is beyond scary. It's beyond scary. Um, so I would like to say 3 or 4 points, Ashish, if I may. I think more than rearming Hinduism, because I read the first edition and I've skimmed through this. I agree with all your premise, but I would like to say more than rearming Hinduism, we need to disarm Abrahamic religions if Hinduism is to survive. What do I mean by disarming? I mean legally disarming. Because let's be very honest about it. There is no other way. I am not advocating any other way. But you are seeing that there are religions that hold sacrosanct as one of their principal dogmas as to convert others, to bring others into their fold. That is an axiom in them. In fact, you are rewarded heaven if you convert someone and bring that person into their fold. And if you have such philosophies within a society, how can logically Hinduism survive? It's almost impossible because the rewards on the other side are just too many. And we've seen how coercions, forced conversions have led to vast swathes of Indian lands, territory, peoples being converted. And the next stage, obviously, is as we know, multiple examples that the person who's converted is more vociferous in proclaiming his newly adopted religion than even the people who have been through generations belonging to that religion or that dogma. So there is no way out. As the most prominent example, Allama Iqbal, the poet who was supposedly called the ideological father of Pakistan, his grandfather was a Kashmiri Pandit. And who would have thought that it would take 1.5 generations for someone to be so vocal, and absolute religious bigot, in the sense that he said, I have a sole purpose on this earth, which is to defeat infidelity and break all idols, and that is the whole sole purpose of Islam. I mean, these are his words. He was the one, in fact, who was the pallbearer of Ilmuddin, the one who killed the publisher of Rangila Rasool. And these are the people we celebrate. There are awards on Allama Iqbal in India. In Pakistan, of course, there would be, but in India, there are awards on Allama Iqbal. In fact, the word Allama itself should not be used because that is in reverence to this guy. So what other things does one require? I think the most prominent one is legal. You have to be absolutely certain that Hinduism cannot survive if you carry on with this process of turning a blind eye to illegal conversions. We've seen it in the South. We've seen it in Punjab, of all places. No one seems to be acting on this. But more important than that, how are we rearming Abrahamic religions? And I don't want to go back to the book that I've written, but I think it's fairly clear that if you keep on discriminating against Hindu places of worship, Hindus, their ways of rites and beliefs, and keep on looking the other way, not just that, keep on appeasing the people who belong to other faiths, you are in fact disarming Hindus and rearming legally the other faiths that even Rabindranath Tagore said 150 odd years ago, 130 odd years ago, that if there are two religions in this world that are intent upon destroying every other religion, and they are Christianity and Islam. And he also said the only way to, I might be paraphrasing, but he said the only way to make peace with them is to embrace them. So he was also, sorry to sound despondent because Sai is obviously here. But the fact is there is no way out. I'm being very honest about it. Sooner or later, I doubt with the policies we have, I doubt Hinduism is going to survive. The fact that you are in exile 33 years, 34 years after 700,000, 500,000 of you then were driven out. Hindus driven out of lands that belongs to Hindus. And no government cutting across party line has done anything. I'm seeing you, it is in one sense a pleasure, but in the other sense it's really painful. I don't know how to deal with this. I don't know of any large country, Vamsi, where people, the majority are refugees in their own land. I mean, do you find Germans as refugees in Germany, Brits as refugees in Britain? But there are 700,000 Hindus, majority population of India as refugees in this country. Where did we go wrong? How difficult could it be? And we've reached a stage now where when a person repeats what the Accountant General said in 2019 of a model to rehabilitate safely and securely 700,000 Kashmiri Hindus victims of genocide, that people are interpreting today as a call for genocide. It is so bizarre. You feel, as Christopher Hitchens said, for how long will we keep on answering things and keep adjusting to the views of the fanatics? Because they are intent upon misinterpreting you, and they will do so. They are intent upon looking for provocation in whatever you say. It is degrading. It is embarrassing to adjust to them. But what is the alternative when people think like that? We possibly wait for death to rid us of our remembrances. I think that is what it is. We are intent upon telling Kashmiri Hindus, wait till age gets you, and maybe then you would be at peace. There is no other way to reconcile with this, what has happened. 7 lakh refugees in this. Couple of other points about Hindutva especially. We live in a country where we have laws, for example, Section 295A, that prosecutes and arrests people for offending religious sensibilities, and this is always subjective. What is offense, what is not. For example, what Udaynidhi Stalin said, wanting to eradicate Sanatan Dharma, and he is still roaming free. Whereas one 20-year-old, I think, boy from Maharashtra who advocated people not to go to Ajmer Dargah, he was thrown in jail because he offended the religious sensibilities of Muslims. And no newspaper or media covered it. They covered it only after he emerged from jail after 45 days. This is the country. And even though the Supreme Court judgment says that the state police must take immediate action if somebody offends religious sensibilities, file an FIR, file a case. Tamil Nadu, obviously, police did not file a case against Udaynidhi Stalin. So this is a subjective matter. Can we say things or abuse Islam like the way we abuse Hindutva? If we do, we'll be thrown in jail. We know that. So why do Hindus accept when the left and the Islamists and the non-Hindus abuse this word or this philosophy, Hindutva, rampantly? They do it because they actually mean to abuse Hindus or Hinduism, but if they do so, they run the risk of offending religious sensibilities. So they've found this nice kind of detour that they will, whatever abuse they want to shower on Hinduism, they use the word Hindutva. But besides the fact that there is a 1995 Supreme Court judgment where the Chief Justice at that point of time was hailed as the panacea of liberalism, Justice Verma says Hindutva is the essence of Hinduism. It is what Hinduism is. And that judgment was based on the teachings of a lot of other Hindu philosophers as well. Radhakrishnan, yes, being one, Ramakrishna Paramhans being another. So I want to ask, as a free speech absolutist, I don't want 295 to be there. But in the time it is there, why are people prosecuted for abusing Islam but not abusing Hindutva? Especially when I have thrown this a challenge. Name me 5 things for people who deride Hindutva. Name me 5 things that are there in Hindutva that aren't already there in Islam. 5. Just 5. Open challenge. And if you can't, will you deride Islam as much as you deride Hindutva? No one has been able to answer this. So it is clear the hate towards Hindutva is essentially a hate towards Hindus and Hinduism. They've just found this stopgap, and our government, our lawyers, our judges are absolutely quiet about it. I think a lot of this Hindu phobia would end if this fork that has been provided to these bigots is realized, first of all, by the Supreme Court. But then when the Supreme Court stays silent when Udaynidhi Stalin abuses Hinduism, why would it speak out when somebody abuses Hindutva? When you are perpetually asked to rise up as a people's movement, to take back what is wrong, to fight for your rights, there's only so much people can do, because we are all working, we are all doing our jobs. This is not our job. The job of the people is to elect an entity that promises to correct injustices. We are not, a billion of us are not judges. A billion of us are not policy makers. When our governments don't correct those, when our governments keep on rearming religions that are out to destroy Hinduism. Just yesterday, I don't know how correct this news is, that the Maharashtra BJP coalition government has provided 20 crores to the Waqf board, 10 crores to the Waqf board. What's going on out here? You have the minority ministry under the BJP in the last 10 years. First of all, why on earth should this minority ministry exist? But it does. And it offers interest-free loans to anyone who wants to set up a shop on Waqf land. Now, would they be Hindus who would set up shops on Waqf land? They are provided interest-free loans. You have RTE, Right to Education, that is working in conjunction with the 93rd Amendment that puts the onus only on Hindu-run schools to offer 25% reservation for the economically weaker sections. The minority-run schools do not have to obey to that diktat. This is not, no one is asking for appeasement. People are asking to remove the discrimination that is happening against Hindus and Hinduism. I'm not even going to Hindu temples. I'm not going to Places of Worship Act. I'm not going to the draconian nature of many legislations or the Waqf Act. I'm just talking about, these are commonsensical, plain, logical and rational discriminations that are happening. And if for the last 10 years, you're not able to remove them, do you plan with massive majority, you plan to remove them with a coalition government?